Hello there, and welcome to Quiet Wisdom. The gates of the city are closing, the noise of the market is fading. The sun is dipping below the western horizon, turning the sky into a sheet of hammered gold. Take a moment to settle in. Listen to the wind blowing over the sand. It is a dry, clean sound, a sound that has existed for 1,000,000 years. Let your shoulders drop. Let the dust of the day fall away from you. Unclench your hands. Let your breathing slow down, matching the slow, rolling rhythm of the camel's stride. Tonight, we are taking the longest journey in human history. We are stepping onto the Silk Road. We will walk from the edge of China, through the singing sands of the desert, over the snowy peaks of the mountains, and into the safety of the Stone Inn. We will smell the spices, touch the silk, and sleep under a sky filled with strange stars. You do not need to walk. The caravan will carry you. And just before we begin, if these quiet journeys help you find rest, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps us keep the lantern lit. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Gate of Jade. We are standing at the edge of the known world. It is the year 100 BC. We are in the Gansu corridor, in the far west of the Han Empire. Before us stands a fortress. It is built of rammed earth and yellow clay. It is a box of walls, rising 30 feet out of the gravel. This is the Yumen Guan, the Jade Gate. To the east lies China, civilization, tea, silk, rice, the order of the emperor. To the west lies the Gobi, the wilderness, the wind, the unknown. It is twilight. The sun is a red ball of fire touching the jagged line of the mountains. The light is dying. The temperature is dropping rapidly. We watch the soldiers of the garrison. They are tired. Their armor is dusty. They push against the massive wooden gates. Creak. Groan. The timber is old and heavy, reinforced with iron bands. The hinges complain. Thud. The gates close. The heavy wooden bar drops into place. Clunk. The empire is sealed for the night. But we are not inside. We are outside. We have chosen to leave. We have joined the caravan. We turn away from the wall. We look out at the trail. It is not a paved road. It is just a track in the hard-packed gravel, worn down by millions of hooves over centuries. The air here is incredibly dry. It sucks the moisture from your skin. It tastes of dust and salt. It is the cleanest air you have ever breathed. You are standing next to your mount. It is not a horse. A horse is too fragile for this land. It is a Bactrian camel. Look at this magnificent creature. It is massive. It stands 7 feet tall at the shoulder. It has 2 humps, firm and fat, storing the energy for the journey. It is covered in a thick, shaggy coat of wool. It is winter, and the camel is wearing its winter coat. The fur is dark brown, matted and deep. It covers the neck, the legs, the humps. You run your hand into the wool. It is warm. It is greasy with lanolin. It is deep enough to bury your hands in. The camel turns its head. It looks at you with heavy-lidded eyes. It has long eyelashes to keep out the sand. It looks bored. It looks patient. It looks like it knows more about time than you do. It lets out a long breath. It smells of sweet hay and musk. The caravan master gives the signal. He does not shout. He just raises his hand. "Hosh," he whispers. The camels begin to move. There are 50 of them. They are tied together in a string. A nose rope connects each camel to the saddle of the one in front. They move as one unit. You climb up. You settle into the saddle. It is not a leather saddle like the cowboys. It is a pile of rugs. Beautiful, woven rugs from Persia and Khotan, stacked between the humps. You sit high off the ground. The camel stands up. It is a lurching motion. Back legs first, then front legs. You sway. You find your balance. And then the rhythm begins. The walk of the camel is unique. It moves both legs on one side, then both legs on the other. Left side, right side. It creates a rolling motion, a sway. It is called the ship of the desert, not just because it carries cargo, but because it moves like a ship at sea. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. It is a slow cadence, much slower than a horse. Clump, clump, clump. The feet of the camel are broad, soft pads. They do not hammer the ground. They spread out. They cushion the impact. The sound is soft, a muffled thudding on the gravel. But there is another sound, the bell. Around the neck of the lead camel and the last camel hangs a large bronze bell. It is the size of a bucket. As the camel swings its neck, the bell rings. Clonk, clonk. It is a deep, resonant, hollow tone. It is not a happy jingle. It is a somber, steady pulse. This bell is the heartbeat of the caravan. It tells the merchants that the line is unbroken. It tells the bandits that the caravan is awake. We walk into the sunset. The great wall fades behind us. It becomes a thin line of yellow mud. Then it disappears into the shadows. We are alone in the void. The landscape is alien. This is the Gobi. It is not sand dunes yet. It is black Gobi. Gravel, rock, flat, hard earth, covered in black pebbles that have been polished by the wind for 1,000,000 years. They glitter in the last light. The wind picks up. Whoosh, hiss. It blows from the north, from Siberia. It is freezing. You wrap your heavy sheepskin coat around you. You pull the fur collar up. You pull your hat down. You are a bundle of warmth on top of a mountain of warmth. The heat of the camel rises up through the rugs. It warms your legs. You feel the connection to the animal. You trust it. It can smell water 3 miles away. It can sense a sandstorm before the sky changes. You surrender to the motion. You cannot steer the camel. It follows the rope. You don't have to look at a map. The master knows the stars. You look up. The sky is changing. The blue is draining away, replaced by a deep, velvet purple. The first star appears. Venus, the evening star. It hangs over the western horizon, pointing the way. You think about the cargo you are carrying. You are sitting on top of bales wrapped in oilcloth and leather. Inside those bales is silk. Thousands of bolts of white silk, spun by worms in the mulberry groves of the south. It is light, soft, and incredibly valuable. You are carrying the secret of China to the Romans. But right now, the value doesn't matter. The gold doesn't matter. Only the movement matters. The line of camels stretches out ahead of you and behind you, a snake of shadows moving through the twilight. You hear the breathing of the camel behind you. Snort. Puff. You hear the creaking of the ropes. Creak. Stretch. It is a symphony of natural materials. Wool, leather, hemp, wood. There is no metal clanking here, except the bell. Clonk. Clonk. Your mind begins to empty out. The complexity of the city, the politics of the Jade Gate, the taxes, the paperwork, it is all gone. There is only the step, the next step, and the next. The horizon is invisible now. The earth and sky have merged into a single bowl of darkness. You feel like you are floating through space. You are a voyager on a dark ocean. The cold air on your face makes you feel alive, but the rhythm makes you feel drowsy. Your head nods. You catch yourself. You are safe. You are tied into the saddle. You cannot fall. You let your eyes close for a moment. You feel the sway. Left. Right. It massages your spine. It loosens the tension in your lower back. You are sinking with the animal. The camel is calm. It is not rushing. It has nowhere to be but here. It accepts the weight. It accepts the cold. You accept it too. This is the philosophy of the road. Endurance. Just keep moving. Slowly, steadily. The bell rings. Clonk. It marks the seconds. It marks the miles. You are traveling away from the day. You are traveling into the night. You are safe in the line. Rest in the saddle. Rest in the rhythm. Sleep. Chapter 2. The Ship of the Desert. The walls of the Jade Gate have dissolved into the darkness behind us. The last lantern of the garrison has flickered out, swallowed by the distance. We have left the empire of the Han. We have left the certainty of stone walls and paved courtyards. We have entered the void of the Gobi. The night is absolute. There is no moon yet. The only light comes from the river of stars flowing overhead, a band of diamond dust that illuminates the ground with a faint, ghostly silver glow. You are moving. You are suspended 7 feet in the air, rocking gently from side to side. You are riding on the back of the most resilient creature on earth, the Bactrian camel. To the people of the cities, the camel is a strange, ungainly beast. But out here, in the wilderness of wind and rock, the camel is a miracle of engineering. It is the technology that makes the impossible journey possible. Let us focus your attention on the animal beneath you. You are sitting in a saddle that is not made of wood or leather, but of rugs. Layers of thick, woven wool, folded and stacked between the 2 great humps. The humps are the fuel tanks of the Silk Road. They are not filled with water, as the children's stories say. They are filled with fat, pure, concentrated energy. Because the caravan has been well fed, the humps are firm. They stand tall and conical. They frame you, one in front, one behind. They act like the high back of a chair, supporting your spine. You lean back against the rear hump. It is warm. It is solid. It yields slightly to your weight, like a dense pillow. You run your gloved hand along the flank of the creature. It is winter in the Gobi. The camel has grown its winter coat. This is not the short, sleek hair of a horse. This is wool. It is thick, matted, and shaggy. It grows long on the neck, forming a heavy mane that protects the throat from the wind. It grows long on the legs, like trousers. The fur is a deep, rich brown. It is coarse to the touch on the outside, covered in the dust of the trail. But if you dig your fingers deep, near the skin, it is incredibly soft. It is the down that keeps the animal alive in temperatures that drop far below freezing. You can feel the heat of the animal rising up through the rugs. It warms your legs. It warms your seat. You are sitting on a furnace. The camel walks. Listen to the rhythm of the gait. A horse trots. A horse jars the spine. But the camel paces. It lifts both legs on the left side at the same time. Then both legs on the right side. Left, right, left, right. This creates a rolling motion, a sway. It is the motion of a boat in a gentle swell. It is a liquid movement. Your body adjusts to it automatically. You sway to the left. You sway to the right. It is a lullaby of motion. It loosens the tightness in your lower back. It relaxes your shoulders. It rocks you. You look down at the ground. It is far away. You watch the feet of the camel. They are not hooves. A hoof is hard. It would sink into the sand. It would crack on the stones. The camel has pads, 2 broad flat toes connected by a web of skin. When the camel puts its weight down, the foot expands. It spreads out. It acts like a snowshoe. It floats on top of the gravel. It floats on top of the sand. The impact is soft. Whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. It is a muffled sound. The caravan moves with a surprising stealth. 50 massive animals, carrying tons of cargo, moving almost silently through the night. The only sharp sound is the bell. The lead camel wears it, a cylinder of bronze. Clonk, clonk. It is not a ringing sound. It is a dull, heavy clanking. A slow pulse. It marks the time. It tells you that the line is moving. It tells you that you are not alone. You breathe in the air. It is freezing cold. It is so cold that the moisture in your nose freezes instantly. But you are wrapped in layers. A sheepskin coat, a fur hat, a wool scarf wrapped around your face. Inside your layers, you are in a tropical microclimate. You smell the scent of the caravan. It is a complex, ancient smell. It smells of wet wool, the dampness of the night settling on the camel's coat. It smells of leather, the straps of the packs, the cured hides of the bales. It smells of sage, the dry brush crushed underfoot. And it smells of musk, the sweet, earthy scent of the animal itself. It is a comforting smell. It is the scent of survival. You look at the head of the camel. It is carried high on a long, curved neck. The camel looks arrogant. It looks down its nose at the world. But this is not arrogance. It is efficiency. By holding its head high, it keeps its nose out of the dust. The nostrils are slits. They are designed to close completely. If a sandstorm comes, the camel can seal its face. The eyes are large and dark, protected by a double row of long, thick eyelashes. They are like awnings. You trust this animal. You do not need to steer. You do not need to hold the reins. The camel is tied to the camel in front of it by a nose peg and a rope. It follows the line. This is the freedom of the caravan. You are a passenger. You can sleep. You can dream. You can watch the stars. The camel will do the walking. You think about the cargo beneath you. You are sitting on top of 2 heavy bales, slung on either side of the camel's back. They are wrapped in layers of oiled canvas and bound with yak hair ropes. Inside, there is treasure. Silk. Bolts of white silk from the mulberry groves of China. Soft, shimmering, light as air. It is destined for the markets of Rome. It will be dyed purple. It will be worn by a senator or a queen. But right now, it is just weight. It is just ballast. Or perhaps you are carrying rhubarb. Dried rhubarb root, a medicine the West craves, or cinnamon, or ginger. The smell of the spices leaks through the canvas. A faint hint of pepper in the cold air. A reminder of the heat of the south. The caravan moves across a dry riverbed. The camels step down the bank. They slide slightly in the loose gravel. You feel the lurch. You grab the tuft of wool on the hump to steady yourself. Then they climb the other side. The muscles of the camel bunch and release. You feel the power of the animal lifting you up. You are on the plateau now. The Black Gobi. The ground is covered in black stones that have been polished by the wind for 1,000,000 years. They shine like iron in the starlight. There is no vegetation here. No grass, no trees. Just the black stones and the black sky. It feels like you are traveling across the surface of a dark planet. The wind blows, whoosh. It hisses over the stones. It pulls at your coat. But the camel does not care. The wind cannot penetrate the thick coat. The camel is a fortress of warmth. You snuggle closer to the hump. You bury your face in the fur. You close your eyes. You listen to the rhythm. Left, right, left, right. Clonk, clonk. Your mind begins to drift. The repetitive motion acts as a hypnotic induction. You are rocking. You are floating. You think about the water inside the camel. The camel can drink 30 gallons of water in 10 minutes. It stores the water in its bloodstream. It is a walking reservoir. You are riding on water. You feel a sense of profound isolation, but it is a safe isolation. The desert is empty, but the line of the caravan is full. There are 50 men, 50 camels. You hear the low voice of a drover singing a song, a mournful, pentatonic tune from the steppes. He is singing to the camels. He is singing to keep the spirits of the dark away. The song weaves through the sound of the wind. You feel your eyelids growing heavy. The cold air makes you want to hibernate. You let your head drop forward. Your chin rests on your chest. You drift into a half-sleep. The saddle nap. In this state, you are aware of the movement, but you are dreaming. You dream of the destination. Samarkand, the golden city, the blue domes, the melon markets. It is months away, 1,000 miles of walking. But the distance does not matter. Only the step matters. The camel takes a step. The earth moves beneath you. You wake up slightly as the camel stumbles on a rock. Stumble, recover. The animal rights itself instantly. It is sure-footed. It has walked this path before. You pat the woolly shoulder. Good boy. The camel grunts, a low, vibrating rumble in its chest. It is a sound of acknowledgement. You look at the sky. The constellations have rotated. The Great Bear has moved around the pole. Time is passing. The night is deepening. The temperature continues to drop. It is far below freezing now. The water in your canteen has turned to ice, but you are warm. The friction of the wool against your legs generates heat. The body of the camel generates heat. You are part of a symbiotic unit. The man guides the camel. The camel warms the man. You think about the evolution of this creature. Nature designed it for this exact moment. It gave it the pads for the sand, the wool for the cold, the fat for the hunger, the lashes for the wind. It is the perfect machine for the void. And because the machine is perfect, you are safe. You do not need to worry about the desert. The camel has the desert solved. You relax your grip on the tuft of wool. You let your hands rest in your lap. You surrender to the sway. It is a gentle, undulating motion, like a cradle rocking on a nursery floor. Back and forth, back and forth. The bell rings. Clonk, clonk. It is the heartbeat of the night. You feel the vastness of the space around you, the miles of empty rock. But you are a moving point of life, a warm ember traveling through the cold. The silence of the Gobi presses in. It is a heavy, thick silence. It absorbs your thoughts. You stop thinking about the price of silk. You stop thinking about the bandits. You stop thinking about the water. You just think about the rhythm, the sway, the warmth, the breathing of the beast. In, out, in, out. You are merging with the animal. You are becoming a centaur of the Silk Road. Your breath matches his breath. Your heart matches the bell. You are drifting, drifting across the roof of the world. There is no end to the road. There is only the next step, and the next, and the sleep, the deep, rhythmic, rolling sleep of the traveler. Rest in the saddle, rest in the wool, rest in the motion. Sleep. Chapter 3. The Singing Sands. The gravel of the Black Gobi has been left behind. The sharp, clicking sound of the camel hooves on stone has faded, replaced by a softness, a silence. We have crossed the invisible border between the hard earth and the shifting earth. We have entered the Taklamakan. In the local Uyghur language, the name is said to mean, you go in and you do not come out. It is the sea of death. But tonight, for us, it is the sea of silence. It is a place of absolute purity, where the world has been reduced to two elements, the sky above and the sand below. The landscape has transformed. Gone are the flat, black plains. Ahead of us rise the dunes. They are mountains made of dust. They rise up 300 feet, blocking the stars. They are shaped by the wind into perfect, sharp ridges that curve and wind like the spines of sleeping dragons. It is night, but the desert is not dark. The starlight reflects off the silica crystals. The sand glows. It is a pale, ghostly, luminous grey. You are still in the saddle, rocking gently between the humps of the Bactrian camel. But the movement has changed. On the gravel, the gait was a hard, rhythmic marching. Here, in the deep sand, it is a swimming motion. The camel lifts its leg high. It places its broad, padded foot down. The sand gives way slightly. The foot sinks, then compresses the grains until they hold. Sink and hold. Sink and hold. It is a slow, labored, fluid movement. The caravan moves like a snake winding through the valleys of the dunes. We are approaching a phenomenon that has terrified and enchanted travelers for 2,000 years. The singing sands. It happens when the humidity is low and the sand is perfectly dry. The wind blows across the top of a high dune. It pushes the grains over the edge. They begin to slide. An avalanche of sand. As the grains slide against each other, the friction creates a vibration, a resonance. Listen. It starts as a low hum. It sounds like a cello being bowed deep underground, or like a distant squadron of aircraft, or like the chanting of monks in a hall. It gets louder. It vibrates in the air. It vibrates in the chest of the camel. It vibrates in your own bones. It is the earth singing to itself. It is a sound of immense power, yet it is peaceful. It is a drone, a white noise that fills the entire spectrum of hearing. You watch the dune next to you. You can see the sand moving. A river of grey dust flowing down the face of the slope. It flows like liquid. It behaves like water, but it is dry. The song rises and falls with the wind. A breathing landscape. You feel a sense of awe. You are a tiny speck traversing a living instrument. The caravan master signals. He knows this place. He knows that the lee of the great dune, the side sheltered from the wind, is the safest place to sleep. The camels slow down. They stop. They kneel. It is a 3-stage process. Front knees, back legs, then the final settle. You slide down from the saddle. Your boots hit the sand. Thump. You sink in up to your ankles. The sand is soft. It yields to you. It is time to make camp. But there are no tents here. You cannot drive a tent peg into this loose powder. And there is no firewood. No trees grow here. The camp is simple. It is elemental. You are going to sleep in the earth. You choose a spot near your camel. The animal acts as a windbreak. Its massive, woolly body blocks the draft. You begin to dig. You use your hands. You scoop away the top layer of sand. The surface sand is freezing cold, chilled by the night air. But 6 inches down, the sand is still warm. It has held the heat of the sun all day. It is a thermal battery. You dig a shallow trench, a hip hole, a shoulder hole. You shape the sand to fit your body. It is the ultimate memory foam. It conforms perfectly to your shape. You unroll your rug, a heavy, knotted carpet from Persia, deep red and indigo blue. You lay it in the hollow you have dug. You sit down. You take off your boots. You pour the sand out of them. A tiny cascade of grains. Shh. You rub your feet. You touch the sand with your bare hand. Feel the texture. It is not gritty. It is fine. It is polished. It flows through your fingers like silk. It is clean. There is no dirt here, no mud, no bacteria. Just pure, ground quartz. You lie down on the rug. You pull your sheepskin coat over you. You are lying in a warm cradle of sand. The dune rises above you, a wall of protection. The wind blows over the top of the ridge, shooting the sand out over your head, but it does not touch you. You are in the pocket of still air. You look up. The sky is framed by the curves of the dunes, a ribbon of stars. The air is so dry that the stars do not twinkle. They burn with a hard, steady light. You can see the colors of the stars. The blue of Sirius, the red of Betelgeuse, the yellow of Capella. You listen to the singing sands. The vibration has quieted down now that the caravan has stopped moving. It is just a low, background thrum. Hum, hum, hum. It acts as a noise blocker. It drowns out the ringing in your ears. You think about the geology of this place. This sand was once a mountain range, the Himalayas, the Tian Shan. Water and wind broke the mountains down. They carried the pieces here. They ground them into dust. You are sleeping on the bones of mountains. This thought gives you perspective. The mountains came and went. The cities came and went. But the sand remains. It is patient. It is eternal. It shifts and changes shape every day. Yet it is always the same. A dune moves. It travels across the desert floor, driven by the wind. It can move 10 feet a year. It is a slow, geological migration. You imagine the dunes moving in time-lapse, flowing like waves on the ocean, rising and falling. You are a sailor on a sea of stone. Your camel shifts its weight. It grunts softly. It chews its cud. The smell of the dry air is intoxicating. It has no scent, really. It is the absence of scent. It is the smell of emptiness. It cleanses your lungs. You feel the warmth from the sand beneath the rug seeping into your back. It relaxes the muscles of your spine. It loosens the tension of the ride. You feel heavy. The sand holds you. It does not push back like a hard floor. It accepts you. It cradles you. You are buried, but in a good way. Buried in warmth, buried in safety. You close your eyes. You visualize the map. You are in the exact center of the continent of Asia, the furthest point from any ocean on Earth. You are at the pole of dryness. The silence presses in. It is a thick, velvet silence. You think about the Silk Road stretching out ahead of you, the oasis of Khotan, where they mine the jade, the oasis of Kashgar, where the markets are. But those are days away, weeks away. Tonight, there is only the dune. You let your mind drift with the sand. You imagine your thoughts are grains of sand. The wind blows them away, one by one. The worry about the water supply blows away. The worry about the price of silk blows away. The worry about the journey blows away. The landscape of your mind becomes smooth, a perfect wind-swept curve, empty, pristine. The singing of the sands becomes a lullaby, a low frequency that resonates with your brainwaves. It pulls you down, down into the warmth of the earth, down into the deep time. You are safe. The camel watches, the stars watch. The desert holds you in its hand. Rest, rest in the singing sand. Sleep. Chapter 4. The Caravanserai. The singing sands of the Taklamakan are behind us. The endless shifting dunes that looked like a frozen ocean of gold have flattened out. The horizon, which for weeks has been a sharp, terrifying line of heat and dust, is softening. We are seeing a new color, green. It starts as a faint smudge in the distance, dancing in the heat haze. Then it becomes distinct. You see the tall, slender shapes of poplar trees standing in rows. You see the dark, leafy canopies of mulberry trees. You smell something you haven't smelled in a month. Moisture. We are approaching the oasis. Perhaps it is Turpan. Perhaps it is Kashgar. It is an island of life in the sea of death. The camels smell it before you do. They lift their heads. Their pace quickens. The rolling, rhythmic gait becomes a little more eager. The bells around their necks ring with a slightly faster tempo. Clonk, 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 clonk. We ride through the irrigation ditches, the Karavan system, underground tunnels bringing snowmelt from the distant Tian Shan mountains to the desert floor. The sound of running water is the most beautiful music in the world. But we are not stopping in the fields. We are heading for the fortress. Ahead of us, rising out of the dust, is a massive square structure. It looks like a castle, but it is built of mud brick the color of dried honey. It has high, windowless walls that slant inward for stability. It has corner towers. This is the Caravanserai, the palace of the caravan, the roadside inn of the ancient world. These structures are spaced exactly 1 day's travel apart along the Silk Road. 20 miles, 30 miles. They are the beads on the string of commerce. They are the only safety in the wilderness. We approach the gate. It is a monumental portal, an archway of stone, big enough for a loaded camel to pass through without crouching. The doors are made of heavy timber, reinforced with iron bands and studs. They are open now, welcoming the twilight arrival. You ride under the arch. The transition is physical. You leave the blinding white glare of the desert sun and enter the cool blue shadow of the interior. You are inside. The Caravanserai is a square donut of a building, a massive open courtyard in the center, surrounded on all 4 sides by a 2-story arcade of arches. The courtyard is bustling, but it is a controlled bustle. It is the order of arrival. The camels know what to do. They march to the center of the courtyard. They kneel, groan, thump, shuffle, settle. You slide down from the saddle. Your legs are stiff. Your feet hit the hard-packed earth of the courtyard floor. It feels solid. It feels permanent. You are surrounded by walls, thick adobe walls, 3 feet deep. They block the wind. They block the blowing sand. They block the bandits. You are safe. The air inside the courtyard smells intense. It is a rich, heavy perfume of travel. It smells of camel musk. It smells of wet wool as the sweat dries on the animals. It smells of dung fires, the sweet, grassy smoke of dried manure burning in the kitchen braziers. It smells of roasting lamb and baking flatbread. It smells of spices, pepper from India, cinnamon from Ceylon, leaking from the bales of other merchants. You begin the unloading. This is a ritual of relief. You undo the heavy knots. You pull the leather straps. You lift the bales of silk from the camel's flanks. Heave. Thud. You stack them on the ground, or you carry them to the arcade. Look at the architecture of the shelter. The ground floor is for the goods and the animals. It consists of deep, vaulted alcoves. Cool, dark caves made of brick. You drag the bales into an alcove. The temperature drops 10 degrees inside the brick arch. The silk is safe here. It is out of the sun. It is out of the rain. The upper floor is for the people. You walk up a narrow stone staircase. You reach the gallery that runs around the entire courtyard. You find your room. It is not a hotel room with a bed and a sink. It is a hujra, a cell. It is a simple, empty room with a domed ceiling. The walls are whitewashed mud. The floor is stone or brick. There is no furniture. But to you, after weeks in the sand, it is luxury. It has a door. It has a roof. You unroll your rug on the floor. The same rug you slept on in the dunes. But here, on the flat stone, it lies perfectly straight. You sit down. You lean your back against the cool mud wall. You feel the coolness seep into your shirt, pulling the heat of the desert out of your spine. You look out the door of your cell, over the railing, down into the courtyard. It is a scene of organized rest. Hundreds of camels are kneeling in lines. They are being fed. The sound of them chewing dry hay is a rhythmic crunching that fills the enclosure. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Donkeys are drinking at the central fountain. In the middle of the courtyard, there is a large stone basin filled with water. A raised platform stands in the center of the water, a place for prayer, or a place to sit and cool your feet. The water is green and still. You watch the other travelers. This is the meeting point of the world. There are Sogdian merchants with pointed beards and conical hats. There are Persian traders in blue robes. There are Chinese officials in silk. There are monks from India in saffron cloth. They do not all speak the same language. They speak the language of the road. They gesture. They nod. They share water. The sun sets. The square of sky above the courtyard turns from blue to violet. The gates are closed. Creak. Boom. The heavy wooden bar is dropped into place. Clunk. The fortress is sealed. The feeling of enclosure is profound. You are locked in for the night. The desert is out there, vast and dangerous, but it cannot get in. The walls are high. The guards are on the towers. You go down to the fire. In the corner of the courtyard, there is a kitchen area. A large tanner oven, a clay beehive, is glowing red. The baker is slapping dough against the inside walls of the oven. Slap. He waits a minute. He reaches in with a hook. He pulls out a disc of bread. Naan. It is hot. It is blistered and brown. It smells of yeast and fire. He hands it to you. You take a bowl of stew. Lamb, chickpeas, dried apricots. It is rich and fatty. You sit on the edge of the central fountain. You dip the hot bread into the stew. You eat. The food is warm and grounding. It settles your stomach. You listen to the sounds of the Caravanserai settling down. It is a low hum. The bubbling of a hookah pipe. Bub, bub, bub. The murmur of voices telling stories of the road. The snort of a camel. The splash of water. It is the sound of humanity huddled together for warmth. You feel a deep sense of community. You do not know these men, but you are bound to them. You are all travelers. You are all guests of the road. The motto of the Caravanserai is carved over the gate. To the guest, the host is a servant. You are the guest. You are being served by the building itself. You finish your meal. You wash your hands in the fountain. The water is cold. You walk back up the stairs to your cell. It is dark inside. You light a small oil lamp. The flame casts a warm yellow circle on the white walls. You take off your boots. You shake the last of the desert sand out of them. You lie down on your rug. You pull your sheepskin coat over you. The room is quiet. The thick walls absorb the noise of the courtyard. You look up at the ceiling. It is a brick dome built in a spiral pattern. It looks like a snail shell. It draws your eye upward toward the center point. It is a geometry of peace. You feel the stillness of the stone. Unlike the tent which flaps in the wind, or the ship which rocks on the waves, the Caravanserai is immovable. It is heavy. It is rooted in the earth. It anchors you. You think about the journey you have made, the heat, the wind, the fear. It is all outside the walls. Here, there is only the stone and the sleep. You close your eyes. You can still hear the faint sound of the camel bells below. Clonk, clink. But it is a gentle sound now, a sleepy sound. You think about the silk stored in the alcove below you. It is resting too. The journey of the silk is paused. Everything is paused. You breathe in the cool air of the cell. It smells of whitewash and dried clay. You feel your muscles melting into the hard floor. The floor supports you. You are a stone in a wall of stones. You are part of the structure. The night deepens. The voices in the courtyard fade away. The fires burn down to embers. The only sound is the wind blowing over the top of the walls, high above you. Whoosh. It passes over the open roof of the courtyard, but it does not touch you. You are in the eye of the storm. The gate of Jade is far behind. The markets of Samarkand are far ahead. Tonight, you are here, in the sanctuary, in the box of earth, safe, enclosed, still, rest in the stone. rest in the safety of the walls. Sleep. Chapter 5. The Market of Samarkand. The walls of the lonely Caravanserai are far behind us. The silence of the Taklamakan desert has been replaced by a new sound, a low, humming vibration that rises from the earth itself. It is the sound of civilization. We have crossed the high passes. We have descended into the fertile valley of the Zarafshan River, the strewer of gold. The air here is no longer dry and biting. It is soft. It holds moisture. It smells of fruit trees, apricot blossoms, and wet clay. We are approaching the jewel of the world, Samarkand. It is the year 650 AD. This is the golden age of the Sogdians, the master merchants of the Silk Road. Ahead of us, rising out of the green valley, are the domes. They are not the mud brick mounds of the desert. They are miracles of architecture. They are tiled in turquoise and azure. They catch the midday sun and reflect it back at the sky, blindingly bright. The turquoise domes of Samarkand. They look like pieces of the sky that have fallen to earth and been captured in stone. We ride toward the city gates. The walls are massive, 30 feet high, built of baked brick, shimmering in the heat. The gates are open. A river of humanity is flowing through them. But we do not stop at the gate. We flow with the current. The camels are tired, but they smell the water. They smell the rest. Their bells ring with a final slow cadence. Clonk, clonk. We enter the city. The transition is immediate. The blinding glare of the open road is cut off. We enter the bazaar. In Samarkand, the market is not just an open square. It is a covered city, a labyrinth of domed passageways and shaded arcades. The roof is a series of brick arches. High above, small windows, oculi, let in shafts of sunlight. These beams of light cut through the dusty air like solid pillars of gold. They illuminate the floating dust motes, turning them into dancing stars. The temperature drops. It is cool inside the bazaar. The thick masonry absorbs the heat. It feels like entering a cave, but a cave filled with the treasures of the earth. You slide down from your camel. You hand the lead rope to a stable boy. The animal is led away to the water troughs. You are free. You are no longer a driver. You are a walker. You step onto the pavement. It is stone, worn smooth by millions of sandals. It feels cool through the soles of your boots. Let us walk through the aisles of the world. This is not a place of chaos. It is a place of order. The Sogdian merchants are organized. Each street is dedicated to a specific craft. Each alley is a library of a single material. We walk down the street of silk. The bales you carried from the Jade Gate are here. They have been opened. Look at the fabric. It is draped over wooden rods. It hangs in long, shimmering waterfalls of color. Crimson from the madder root, indigo from the woad plant, saffron yellow, imperial white. You reach out and touch a bolt of Chinese silk. It is cool to the touch. It is slippery. It flows over your skin like water. It has a frictionless quality. You rub it between your thumb and forefinger. It makes a sound, a whisper. Swish, swish. The merchants here do not shout. They sit on raised wooden platforms, cross-legged on thick carpets. They sip tea from shallow bowls. They wait. When you approach, they nod. They unfold the cloth with a snap of the wrist. Snap. Flutter. The silk catches the light from the high windows. It ripples. You feel the luxury of it. This fabric traveled 4,000 miles to get here. It crossed the desert on the back of a beast. It survived the snow. And now it hangs here, perfect and unblemished. We leave the silk. We turn a corner. We enter the street of paper. Samarkand is famous for this. The secret of paper making came from China. but the artisans of Samarkand refined it. They used mulberry bark and cotton rags. The air here smells different. It smells of wet pulp, of starch, and of clean water. You see the paper makers at work in the back of their stalls. They dip a screen made of fine bamboo into a vat of white slurry. Dip. Lift. They shake it gently. Shake, shake. The water drains away. A thin layer of white fibers is left on the screen. They flip the screen onto a stack of felts. They press it. They peel the wet sheet off and stick it to the plaster wall to dry. The walls are covered in squares of white paper. They look like tiles. You touch a piece of finished Samarkand paper. It is polished. It is smooth as ivory. It makes a crisp, cracking sound when you flex it. Crackle. This paper will carry the words of the scholars. It will carry the poetry of the Sufis. It will carry the math of the astronomers. It is the blank canvas of history. We walk on. We enter the street of spices. This is the most overwhelming sensory experience of the Silk Road. The air is thick. It is heavy. It has a physical weight. The scent hits you before you see the stalls. It is a warm, dry cloud. Cinnamon, sweet and woody. Cloves, numbing and sharp. Black pepper, the black gold of India. It tickles your nose. Frankincense, the resin of the desert, smoky and religious. The spices are piled in mounds, perfect cones of powder. Red, orange, brown, black. They look like a landscape of miniature volcanoes. The merchant uses a small brass scoop. He digs into a pile of peppercorns. Crunch. Scritch. The sound of the dry seeds shifting is satisfying. He pours them onto a brass scale. The metal pans of the scale dip and balance. Clink. He pours them into a small leather bag. He ties the drawstring. The exchange is quiet. Coins are placed on the table. Silver drachms, gold dinars. The metal coins clink softly against the wood. It is a transaction of trust. The weight of the silver against the weight of the pepper. We move deeper into the market. The light is changing. The shafts of sun from the roof are slanting, turning from white to gold. The afternoon is passing. We enter the street of glass. This is the cargo coming from the west, from Rome, from Syria, from Egypt. The stalls here glitter. Rows of shelves lined with glass vessels. Small perfume bottles, delicate and blue. Large wine jugs, clear and green. Beads, thousands of glass beads. They catch the low light. They sparkle. You pick up a small Roman cup. It is incredibly light. It feels fragile in your hand, especially after the heavy wool and leather of the desert crossing. It is cool. It is smooth. You run your finger around the rim. It sings. A high, faint note. Ping. You think about the miracle of this object. It is made of sand. The same sand that tried to bury you in the desert. But here, melted by fire and breath, it has become transparent. It has become a jewel. The glass merchant is polishing a bowl with a soft cloth. Rub. Rub. The rhythm is slow. The entire bazaar operates on a slow rhythm. There is no rushing here. The journey to get here took months. The selling will take days. We find a place to sit. A chaikhana, a tea house in the center of the market. It is a raised platform, covered in deep red Bukhara rugs. There are cushions scattered around. You take off your boots. You step onto the soft wool. You sit down. You lean back against a bolster cushion. It is firm and supportive. A server brings a tray, a pot of green tea, a bowl of dried apricots, a plate of almonds. You pour the tea. The stream of liquid is amber in the light. It steams. You hold the bowl in both hands. The ceramic warms your palms. You take a sip. It is grassy and bitter. It cuts the dust of the trail from your throat. You eat an apricot. It is chewy and sweet. It tastes of the sun. You look out at the market from your elevated perch. You watch the flow of people. It is a river of humanity, flowing between the banks of the stalls. Sogdians in their white tunics and tall conical hats, Turks in fur-trimmed coats, Chinese envoys in silk robes, Persians in blue turbans. They move slowly. They stop to talk. They touch hands. You hear the murmur of a dozen languages. It creates a low, constant drone. Hum. It is a brown noise. It masks individual thoughts. It lulls you. You watch the dust dancing in the light beams. The dust of Samarkand is golden. It floats in the air, suspended. You feel a heaviness in your limbs. The adrenaline of the arrival is fading. The safety of the city is sinking in. You are no longer exposed to the wind. You are no longer exposed to the cold. You are inside the walls. You are inside the roof. You are contained. The light in the bazaar begins to dim. The sun has dropped below the level of the high windows. The shafts of light disappear. The market turns into a world of shadows and lanterns. The merchants begin to pack up. This is a ritual of closure. You watch the silk merchant. He takes a white cloth. He covers the bolts of silk. He tucks the edges in. He is putting the fabric to sleep. You watch the spice merchant. He puts lids on the jars. Click. Twist. He sweeps the spilled grains from the counter. Swish. Swish. You watch the glass merchant. He wraps the delicate cups in straw. He places them in wooden boxes. He latches the boxes. The abundance is being hidden away. The visual noise is being reduced. The noise of the crowd is fading. The shoppers are going home. The gates of the bazaar are being pulled shut. Rumble. Clang. The echo dies away. You are still sitting in the tea house. The server is wiping down the tables. You feel a profound sense of satisfaction. The goods have been delivered. The exchange has been made. The balance is restored. You think about the objects you have seen. The silk, the paper, the spice, the glass. They are all resting now. They are sitting in the dark, waiting for tomorrow. You are resting too. You feel the texture of the rug beneath you, the knots of the wool. It is a map of comfort. You lay your head down on the cushion. The smell of the tea and the lingering scent of cinnamon fills your nose. It is a warm, domestic smell. The city of Samarkand is settling down. Outside the dome of the market, the stars are coming out over the valley. But inside, it is a cave of commerce that has gone silent. You listen to the silence. It is a big, hollow silence. You can hear the faint dripping of a fountain somewhere in the distance. Drip, drip, drip. It counts the seconds. You let go of the day. You let go of the lists. You do not need to buy anything. You do not need to sell anything. You are just here, safe in the center of the world. The golden city holds you. The walls are thick. The doors are locked. Rest, rest in the market. Rest in the quiet. Sleep. Chapter 6. The Roof of the World. The golden dust of Samarkand has settled behind us. The blue domes of the mosques and the green canopies of the orchards have shrunk until they are nothing but a mosaic of color in the valley floor far below. We have left the world of men. We have left the horizontal world of the plains and the deserts. Now, we must enter the vertical world. We are climbing. The path before us is no longer sand. It is rock. Gray, weathered granite that has been shattered by the freeze and thaw of a million winters. The road winds upward, twisting back on itself like a coiled rope, rising higher with every turn. We are approaching the Pamirs. The ancient Persians called this place Bamidunya, the roof of the world. The Chinese called it the Kongling, the onion range. Not because the mountains are shaped like onions, but because wild onions grow in the lower valleys. As we ride, you can smell them. It is a sharp, pungent, green scent. It cuts through the cold air. It mixes with the smell of the wet slate and the mineral dust of the path. It is the smell of high altitude. The air is changing. Down in the market, the air was thick and warm. It carried sound easily. But up here, the air is thin. It is rarefied. It does not carry sound the same way. Everything sounds distant. Everything sounds muffled. Your breathing changes. You have to breathe deeper. In and out. In and out. You feel the cold entering your lungs. It is a dry, sterile cold. It feels like drinking ice water. It wakes you up, but it also calms you down. It slows your heart rate. You are still riding the camel. The Bactrian is built for this. It is not just a ship of the desert. It is a climber of mountains. Watch the animal work. Its breath comes out in great white plumes of steam. Whoosh, whoosh. The steam rises in the cold air, hangs for a moment, and then vanishes. The camel places its feet with absolute precision. It looks at the loose rocks. It tests the ground. It shifts its weight. You can feel the muscles in its shoulders bunching and releasing as it pulls you up the incline. It is a sensation of raw power. You do not have to climb. The beast climbs for you. You are wrapped in layers of warmth. You are wearing a chapan, a heavy quilted coat made of wool and cotton. It is padded. It is long, covering your legs. Over that, you wear a sheepskin cloak, the wool turned inward against your body. You are a bundle of insulation. The cold tries to touch you, but it cannot get through the layers. It only touches your cheeks and the tip of your nose. The contrast makes the warmth of the coat feel even more luxurious. We pass the timberline. The trees have given up. The pines and the junipers have become smaller, stunted, twisted by the wind. And then they disappear altogether. Now there is only rock and sky. The sky here is a different color. It is not the pale blue of the desert. It is a deep, dark, violet blue. It looks like the edge of space. It is darker than the ground. The sun is bright, but it gives no heat. It is a cold star. We are entering the cloud layer. Ahead of us, a bank of gray mist clings to the side of the mountain. The caravan moves into it without hesitating. The world turns white. You cannot see the valley below. You cannot see the peaks above. You can only see the camel in front of you, fading into a gray silhouette. The sound of the bells changes. In the clear air, the bells rang sharp. Clonk. In the mist, the sound is dampened. It becomes a soft, hollow thud. Thump. Thump. It is a ghostly sound. You feel moisture condensing on your eyelashes. Tiny beads of water. You blink, and they run down your face. And then, the snow begins. It does not fall like rain. It drifts. Large, dry flakes. They are hexagonal crystals, perfect in their geometry. They land on the dark fur of the camel's neck. They stay there. They do not melt. The camel is so well insulated that its body heat does not escape to melt the snow. The animal turns white. You watch the snow accumulate on your own sleeve. You study the shape of a single flake. It is a star of ice, a complex fractal pattern. It existed for a moment in the cloud, and now it rests on your arm. The snow gets heavier. The path disappears under a carpet of white. But the camels know the way. They have walked this path for centuries. They can feel the hard pack of the trail through the snow. The rhythm of the climb is slow, agonizingly slow. Step, pause, breathe. Step, pause, breathe. This is the rhythm of high altitude. You cannot rush here. If you rush, you get dizzy, you get sick. You have to surrender to the slowness. You have to accept that this mile will take an hour. And that is okay. You have the hour. You look around at the landscape. The mountains are not sharp peaks here. This is the Pamir Plateau. It is a high, flat valley suspended in the sky. It looks like a frozen ocean. Miles of white, rolling hills, surrounded by jagged peaks that tear the clouds. It is silent. This is the deepest silence you have ever experienced. There are no birds. There are no insects. There is no wind in the trees, because there are no trees. There is only the sound of the camel's hooves crunching in the dry snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It is a satisfying sound, a compression of crystals. You feel a sense of isolation that is total. You are thousands of miles from the ocean. You are 3 miles above sea level. You are on the roof of the world. Usually, isolation is scary, but here, surrounded by the caravan, it feels like protection. You are so far away from the problems of the world. The wars of the empires cannot reach you here. The taxes cannot reach you. The noise cannot reach you. You are untouchable. You are traversing the void. The sun begins to set behind the peaks. The light on the snow changes. It goes from blinding white to a soft pastel pink, then to a deep, cold purple. The alpenglow. The shadows of the camels stretch out across the snow. Long blue shadows that look like giants. The temperature plummets. You can feel the freeze tightening the air. It snaps. You pull your scarf up over your nose. You breathe through the wool. The air is warm and moist inside the fabric. The caravan master signals. We will not cross the highest pass tonight. It is too dangerous in the dark. We will camp here. We find a sheltered spot, a hollow in the rocks, protected by a cliff face. The camels stop. They kneel in the snow. Crump, crump. You slide off. Your boots hit the snow. It is knee-deep. It is a strange sensation. You are walking on a cloud. The men move quickly. Survival depends on speed now. They do not pitch tents. The ground is too frozen for stakes. They build a windbreak. They stack the bales of cargo, the silk, the spices, the rugs. They build a wall of commerce against the wind. Behind this wall, they clear the snow. They lay down thick felt mats. They build a fire. But there is no wood, so they burn the dung they carried with them from the valley below. It burns with a low blue flame. It does not give off much light, but it gives off heat. You gather around the small fire. You hold your hands out. They are numb. You watch the blood return to your fingers. They tingle. The cook melts snow in a copper pot. He throws in a brick of tea. He throws in a lump of yak butter. He throws in a pinch of salt. This is butter tea. Pocha. It is the drink of the mountains. It is not a delicate beverage like the tea in the market. It is a soup. It is high-calorie survival fuel. He hands you a wooden bowl. The liquid is thick. It is oily. It is beige. You drink it. It tastes salty and rich. The fat coats your lips. The warmth hits your stomach and explodes outward. It reaches your toes. It gives you the energy to fight the cold. You sit there, huddled in your furs, holding the warm bowl. You look up. The mist has cleared. The night sky of the high mountains is revealed. It is terrifyingly clear. The stars are not just points of light. They are burning spheres. You can see the different colors. You can see the nebulae. The Milky Way is so bright, it casts a shadow on the snow. You feel like you could reach up and grab a handful of stars. You are closer to them than almost anyone else on Earth. The silence of the snow is absolute. Snow absorbs sound. It swallows it. There is no echo here. If you spoke, your voice would drop dead at your feet. So, you do not speak. You listen to the silence. It rings in your ears. A high, pure tone. You look at the camels. They are covered in frost. Their breath hangs in the air. They are sitting perfectly still, chewing their cud. They are the masters of this environment. They do not shiver, they just wait. You learn from them. You learn to wait. It is time to sleep. You move to the sleeping area. The men pack together. Body heat is the only heat that will last the night. You lie down on the felt mats. You pile the rugs over you. Rugs from Bukhara. Rugs from Kashgar. Thick, heavy wool rugs woven with patterns of gardens and flowers. You are sleeping under a garden of wool in a desert of ice. The weight of the rugs is immense. It presses you down. It traps every calorie of heat your body produces. You pull your fur hat down over your ears. You close your eyes. You can still feel the motion of the climb in your legs. The phantom sensation of the camel stepping up. Step. Lift. Your body relaxes. The altitude makes you sleepy. The thin air makes you lethargic. You feel heavy. Gravity feels stronger here. You think about the mountain beneath you. Solid granite. The bones of the earth. It is holding you up. You are sleeping on the summit. The world falls away on every side. The valleys are miles below. The oceans are thousands of miles away. You are an island in the sky. You visualize the snow falling gently on the camp, covering the bales of silk, covering the sleeping camels, covering the rugs. It is a blanket of white. It seals you in. The cold is outside. The warmth is inside. The contrast is perfect. You are safe. The pass will be there tomorrow. The road will be there tomorrow. Tonight, there is only the snow. Quiet, soft, endless. Rest in the high air. Rest in the cloud. Sleep. Chapter 7. The Yurt, the felt house. We have descended from the dizzying heights of the Pamir Mountains. The snow-capped peaks that loomed over us like jagged teeth are now behind us, glowing pink in the fading light of the evening. The air has thickened. It is no longer the thin, gasping air of the high altitude. It is rich, heavy, and full of oxygen. We have entered the steppe. This is the great ocean of grass that stretches from Hungary to Korea. It is a landscape of infinite green, rolling gently like the swell of a calm sea. There are no trees here to block the view. There are no fences. There is only the horizon, a perfect circle of land meeting sky. The wind blows constantly here. It is not the biting gale of the mountain peaks, but a steady, pushing force. It ripples the grass, creating waves of silver and emerald that travel for miles. We are riding toward a settlement. It is not a city of stone like Samarkand. It is not a fortress of mud like the Caravanserai. It is a city of white circles. The yurts, or as the nomads call them, the gers. From a distance, they look like mushrooms sprouting from the green earth. Round, white domes, clustered together near a stream. Smoke rises lazily from the center of each dome, drifting south with the wind. We ride our camels into the camp. The dogs bark, but tails are wagging. The horses, small, sturdy steppe ponies, lift their heads to watch us pass. We stop. The camels kneel. We have been invited to stay. But on the steppe, hospitality is active. To understand the home, you must help build it. We are going to witness the construction of a yurt. It is a masterpiece of mobile architecture. It is a house that can be packed onto 2 camels and set up in an hour. It is the perfect machine for living in the wind. Let us look at the anatomy of this structure. It begins with the khana, the walls. They are not solid walls. They are a lattice. Imagine long strips of willow wood. Willow is the chosen wood because it is flexible. It bends without breaking. The strips are crisscrossed and pinned together with knots of rawhide leather. The result is an accordion. When it is packed, the wall is a flat, tight bundle of sticks. But when you pull it open, it expands. Creak. Stretch. The lattice opens up into a grid of diamonds. The nomads take these expanded wall sections and stand them up in a circle on the grass. They tie them together with leather thongs. It creates a circular fence, a corral for people. Next, the door. The door frame is solid pine. It is heavy. It is painted bright orange or red. The door always faces south. This is a rule of the steppe. The prevailing winds come from the north and west. The bad weather comes from the north. So the door turns its back on the wind. It faces the sun. It faces the warmth. When you wake up in a yurt, the sunlight coming through the door tells you what time it is. The door is a sundial. Now, the roof. This is the genius of the design. A man stands in the center of the circle, holding a heavy wooden pole. On top of the pole is a wheel, the tuno, the crown. It is a heavy wooden ring, about 3 feet across. It has slots cut into its rim. Other men stand around the outside of the walls. They hold the uni, the roof poles. These are long, straight willow poles, painted red. They look like the spokes of a giant umbrella. They slot one end of the pole into the crown. They tie the other end to the top of the lattice wall. One by one, the roof takes shape. It is a cone, a sunburst of red wood radiating from the center ring. The structure creates a perfect tension. The weight of the roof pushes down and out. The walls push back. The tension band, a heavy rope wrapped around the top of the walls, holds it all together. No nails, no screws, just gravity and tension. It is incredibly strong. You could park a car on top of a yurt, and it would hold. The wind can blow at 60 miles an hour, and the aerodynamic shape just sheds the air. The skeleton is finished. It stands on the grass, a cage of red willow. It looks like a bird cage. Now, the skin. The skeleton must be clothed. The covering is not canvas. It is not leather. It is felt. This is the fabric of the nomad. Let us understand felt. It is not woven. There is no loom involved. Felt is made by taking raw sheep's wool, tons of it, and spreading it out on a mat. You wet it with hot water. You roll it up tight, and then you drag it behind a horse for hours. The friction, the heat, and the moisture cause the microscopic scales on the wool fibers to lock together. They tangle, they fuse. The result is a dense, thick, heavy mat. It is waterproof, it is windproof, and it is the best insulation in the world. In the winter, it keeps the heat in. In the summer, it keeps the heat out. The nomads lift the heavy sheets of white felt, heave, thud. They drape them over the roof poles. They drape them over the walls. The interior instantly becomes dark. The sounds of the outside world are muffled. They cover the felt with a layer of white canvas to protect it from the rain. They tie it down with horsehair ropes. The ropes are laid out in geometric patterns over the white dome. They look like decorations, but they are functional. They hold the house to the earth. The yurt is complete. It sits on the grass like a white stone, solid, round, silent. You stoop to enter. You step over the high wooden threshold. You never step on the threshold. That is bad luck. It is the neck of the house. You step inside. The feeling is womb-like. The space is circular. There are no corners. In the philosophy of the steppe, corners are where evil spirits hide. A round house has no hiding places. The energy flows freely around the curve. The floor is covered in rugs. This is where the color lives. The outside of the yurt is plain white, but the inside is a riot of pattern. Layer upon layer of carpets, Persian rugs, Afghan rugs, Turkish kilims, deep reds, indigos, saffron yellows. They are thick. You take off your boots. You step onto the wool. It is soft and warm. It insulates you from the cold ground. The walls are lined with hangings. tapestries depicting hunting scenes, or geometric symbols of protection. In the center of the room stands the hearth. It is a cast-iron stove, or an open brazier. A fire is burning inside. The fuel is dried dung or wood gathered from the river valleys. It burns hot and clean. The smoke rises straight up. It goes to the center of the roof, to the wooden crown. The crown is open to the sky. You can see a circle of blue twilight above you. The smoke drifts out, carrying your prayers to the sky. This opening is the eye of the house. During the day, it acts as a clock. A beam of sunlight travels around the interior of the yurt, touching the furniture. At 9 a.m., it hits the bed. At noon, it hits the fire. At 3 p.m., it hits the kitchen chest. You live inside a sundial. You sit down on a cushion near the stove. The warmth is immediate. The felt walls reflect the heat back at you. It is a dry, enveloping warmth. You look around at the layout of the home. It is a map of social order. The back of the yurt, opposite the door, is the place of honor. This is where the elders sit. This is where the family altar is, a small chest with Buddhist statues or shamanic totems. To the west, the left, is the men's side. Here hang the saddles, the bridles, the bows, the tools. It smells of leather and horse sweat. To the east, the right, is the women's side. Here are the cooking pots, the churns for butter, the buckets for milk. It smells of dairy and tea. Everything has a place. If you were blindfolded and walked into any yurt in Mongolia, you would know exactly where the milk was. You would know exactly where to sit. This creates a deep sense of security. The world outside is vast and changing. You move every season. But the inside of the house never changes. The house is a constant. You lean back against a wooden chest painted with orange tigers. You listen to the wind. Outside, the wind of the steppe is blowing. It is a constant force. It whistles around the curved walls. Whoosh, whoosh. But the yurt is aerodynamic. The wind flows around it like water around a stone. The structure does not shake. It does not rattle. It just sits there, heavy and secure. You hear the felt layers rubbing against each other softly. Shh. Shh. It is a comforting sound, like being wrapped in a heavy blanket. The fire pops in the stove. The iron door clinks. You watch the firelight play on the red lattice of the walls. The crisscross pattern of the willow wood creates diamond-shaped shadows that dance on the felt. It creates a sense of enclosure. You are not exposed. On the open trail, you are a speck under the sky. Here, you are held. The circle holds you. The hostess moves to the stove. She is wearing a deal, a long silk robe buttoned at the shoulder. She lifts a copper pot. She begins to prepare the welcome. The atmosphere in the yurt changes. It shifts from the busyness of arrival to the stillness of hospitality. The men settle on the rugs. They take off their heavy sheepskin coats. They stretch their legs. The conversation is low and murmuring. The acoustics of the yurt are peculiar. Because it is round and lined with soft wool, there is no echo. The sound is deadened. It makes voices sound intimate, close. You feel sleepy. The climb up the mountain has exhausted you. The cold has drained you. But now, the heat is refilling you. You stare up at the roof ring. The circle of sky has turned black. A single star is visible, framed by the wood. It looks like an eye watching over you. You think about the structure holding that roof up. The 80 willow poles. They are like 80 arms, reaching up, holding the crown. They are under tension, compression. They are working so you don't have to. Physics is doing the lifting. You relax your own muscles. You let your spine slump. You sink into the pile of rugs. You run your hand over the carpet. The knots are dense. The wool is oily. It feels ancient. This way of living has not changed for 3,000 years. Before the Roman Empire, people sat in felt, circles on this grass. After the Roman Empire fell, people sat in felt circles on this grass. It is a permanent way of life in a moving home. There is peace in that continuity. You are just another traveler finding shelter in the round house. The smell of the dung fire is sweet. It is not acrid. It smells like burnt herbs. It creates a drowsiness, a heavy, pleasant fog in the brain. You watch the steam rising from the copper pot on the stove. It drifts up to the smoke hole. It joins the smoke. Up and out. You let your thoughts drift up with it. The worry about the desert is gone. The worry about the snow is gone. There is only the felt wall. Soft, thick, protective. You are inside the wool of the sheep. You are inside the wood of the willow. You are inside the geometry of the circle. There are no corners for the stress to hide in. Just the smooth, endless curve of the wall, wrapping around you, holding you, safe. Rest in the yurt, rest in the circle. Sleep. Chapter 8. The tea and the butter. The yurt is built. The felt walls are tied down. The wind of the steppe is howling outside, whistling around the curve of the white dome, but it cannot enter. Inside, the air is still. The lattice walls cast diamond-shaped shadows in the firelight. You are sitting on a thick wool carpet. Your legs are crossed. Your boots are off. You are safe in the circle of warmth. But the body needs more than just shelter. It needs heat from the inside. The journey across the high passes of the Pamirs and the open grasslands has drained your energy. The cold has seeped into your marrow. To survive the night, you need fuel. We are about to participate in the most important ritual of the Central Asian nomad, the tea. But this is not the delicate, clear green tea of the Chinese scholar. This is not the floral tea of the Persian garden. This is survival tea. This is brick tea. The hostess moves to the center of the yurt. She sits by the iron stove. She reaches into a wooden chest painted with bright orange tigers. She pulls out a dark, heavy object. It looks like a brick of masonry. It is rectangular, solid, and black. This is the tea. In the tea factories of Sichuan, thousands of miles away, the leaves were harvested. But they were not the young, tender buds. They were the mature leaves, the stems, the twigs. They were steamed, they were crushed, and then they were pressed into molds with hydraulic force. They were stamped with the seal of the tea house. A pagoda, a star, a dragon. The result is a block of tea that is as hard as wood. It is practically indestructible. It is so valuable, so durable, that it is used as money. You can buy a horse with tea bricks. You can pay your taxes with tea bricks. You are looking at edible currency. The hostess holds the brick in one hand. In the other, she holds a knife. A small, sharp iron knife with a bone handle. She begins to shave the tea. She scrapes the edge of the brick. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Dark flakes of tea leaf curl off the block. They look like tobacco. They fall into her lap. It is a slow process. The brick resists the knife. It takes strength. She gathers a handful of the dark shavings. She lifts the lid of the copper kettle on the stove. The water inside is already boiling. Steam rushes out, smelling of wet iron. She drops the leaves into the water. Hiss. The water turns dark instantly. It boils violently. But tea and water are not enough. In this climate, water freezes. Water has no calories. To survive the night, you need fat. You need butter. She reaches for a wooden tub. Inside is a mound of yellow grease. Yak butter. It is thick. It is dense. It smells of the animal. It has a fermented, cheesy aroma. It is rich in fat, rich in salt. She scoops out a large ladle full of the butter. She drops it into the boiling tea. It melts. Pools of yellow oil spread across the dark surface of the liquid. She adds salt, rock salt, mined from the dry lakes of the desert. Now, the mixing. She does not use a spoon. She uses a dongmo, a tea churn. It is a tall, cylindrical tube made of bamboo and brass. It looks like a large piston. She pours the tea, the butter, and the salt into the churn. She inserts the wooden plunger, and she begins to work. Plunge. Squish. Plunge. Squish. It is a physical rhythm. She drives the plunger down, forcing the butter and the water to emulsify. She pulls it up. Gurgle. Thump. The sound fills the small room. It is a wet, heavy, domestic sound. She churns for a long time. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. She is beating the calories into the liquid. She is creating a suspension. The mixture changes color. It stops being dark brown. It turns a creamy, opaque beige. The color of soup. The color of river clay. She stops. She pours the liquid back into the copper pot to keep it hot. She takes a stack of wooden bowls from the shelf. They are made of birch burl. They are polished smooth. The wood grain swirls like smoke. She ladles the tea into the bowls. She hands one to you. You take it with both hands. The wood is hot. The heat transfers instantly to your palms. It feels incredible. It thaws your frozen fingers. You hold the bowl close to your face. You breathe in the steam. It does not smell like tea. It smells like savory soup. It smells of dairy and smoke and salt. It is a heavy smell, a smell of sustenance. You take a sip. The liquid coats your lips with oil. It washes over your tongue. It is salty. It is buttery. The bitterness of the tea cuts through the richness of the fat. It is a shock at first, if you are expecting sweet tea. But your body recognizes it immediately. Your body says, yes, this is what I need. It is heat. It is energy. You drink. You can feel the liquid moving down your throat. You can feel it hitting your stomach. It is like lighting a furnace in your belly. The warmth radiates outward. It moves to your chest. It moves to your legs. You take another sip. The other men in the yurt are drinking too. There is a silence of appreciation. Slurp, sigh, slurp, sigh. This is the communion of the steppe. The tea connects you. The butter connects you to the yak herds grazing outside. The salt connects you to the earth. The tea leaves connect you to the distant forests of China. The whole Silk Road is in this bowl. But the meal is not over. The hostess brings out a leather bag. Tsampa, roasted barley flour. It is a fine, nutty powder. It smells of toasted grain. She puts a handful of the flour into your bowl, right into the remaining tea. You do not drink this. You work it. You use your fingers. You mix the flour with the oily tea. You knead it in the bowl. Press. Turn. Press. Turn. It forms a dough. A warm, soft ball of grain. You break off a piece. You eat it. It is chewy. It tastes of roasted nuts and butter. It is solid food. It sticks to your ribs. You finish the bowl. You wipe it clean with your thumb. In the nomad culture, you leave nothing. You set the bowl down. You lean back against the wall of the yurt. The itis sets in. The heaviness of the digestion. The combination of the fat and the warmth acts like a sedative. Your eyelids feel heavy. Your limbs feel heavy. You look at the fire in the stove. The dung fuel burns with a steady blue-orange flame. It does not pop or spark. It just glows. It releases a steady wave of heat. The temperature in the yurt is rising. It is tropical in here compared to the freezing wind outside. You listen to the wind. Whoo! It batters the felt walls. You can see the lattice frame flex slightly, but the structure holds. The ropes hold. The contrast makes you feel safer. The wilder the wind blows, the safer you feel inside the circle. You watch the smoke rising from the stove. It spirals up toward the central ring, the tuno. You look up at the smoke hole. It is a circle of black night. You can see a single star. The star is cold. You are warm. You look at the patterns on the rugs, geometric shapes, diamonds, ram's horns, endless knots. Your eyes trace the lines of the red wool, round and round, over and under. It is a maze without an end. Your mind follows the pattern. It gets lost in the weave. You stop thinking about the map. You stop thinking about the miles. You are just here, sitting on the wool, filled with the butter. The hostess begins to hum a low tune. It is a throat song, a vibration deep in her chest. It mimics the sound of the wind. It mimics the sound of the river. It is a drone. It resonates in the round room. It vibrates in your chest. You feel yourself sinking. You are sinking into the pile of the rugs. You are sinking into the history of the road. You are a traveler who has found shelter. There is no greater feeling than that. To be inside when the world is outside. To be full when the land is empty. Your head nods. You catch yourself. But there is no need to stay awake. The tea has done its work. It has warmed you for the sleep. The butter is protecting your cells. You let your eyes close. You see the after image of the fire, a red dot in the darkness. You hear the soft breathing of the camels outside. You hear the murmur of the family. You are part of the family for tonight. You are safe in the felt house. The bowl is empty. The body is full. Drift. Drift on the river of tea. Drift on the ocean of grass. Rest. Rest in the warmth. Sleep. Chapter 9. The endless road. The bowl of butter tea is empty. The last drop of the salty, rich liquid has been consumed, leaving a coating of warmth on your tongue. The wooden bowl is placed on the low table, sitting alongside the others. The social hour of the Yurt is ending. The low murmur of conversation between the merchants and the nomads has faded away. The stories of the road, the tales of the bandits in the Fergana Valley, the price of jade in Khotan, the snow depth in the Pamirs, have all been told. The words have drifted up into the smoke hole and vanished into the night sky. Now, there is only the silence of the aftermath. The fire in the central stove has burned down. The dung fuel, which burned so hot and bright an hour ago, has turned into a bed of grey ash. But deep inside the ash, the core is still red. It pulses gently. Glow. Dim. Glow. Dim. It casts a faint dying light on the red lattice walls of the tent. The diamond shadows stretch out, becoming long and indistinct. It is time to prepare the bed. In the yurt, there are no private bedrooms. The entire circle is the bedroom. The family moves to the sides. The guests move to the back, the place of honor. You watch the preparation of the sleeping space. It is a ritual of layering. On the steppe, the ground is cold. The frost seeps up from the permafrost deep below. To sleep warm, you must build a foundation. The nomads bring out the felts. These are heavy, dense mats of compressed wool. They are an inch thick. They are white, bordered with patterns of endless knots in black thread. They unroll them on top of the carpets. Thud. Unroll. The sound is muffled. The wool absorbs the impact. On top of the felts, they lay the furs. These are the skins of the animals of the high country. Wolf skins, thick, grey and coarse. Snow leopard skins, rare and old, passed down for generations. Sheepskins, soft, curly and white. You are given a pile of sheepskins. You arrange them. You create a nest. You take off your heavy outer coat, the chapan. You fold it. You place it at the head of the bed to serve as a pillow. It smells of the journey. It smells of the dust of 3 empires. You take off your boots. Your feet are free. You rub them. You feel the circulation returning. You lie down. The sensation is one of absolute support. The ground is hard, yes, but the layers of wool and fur cushion you. You sink into the pile. You pull a heavy yak hair blanket over you. It is rough to the touch, scratchy against your chin, but it is heavy. It weighs 10 pounds. It presses you down. It tells your nervous system that you are safe. It mimics the feeling of being held. You lie on your back. You look up. The interior of the yurt is a universe of its own. The roof poles, the uni, radiate from the center ring like the rays of a red sun. They are painted with intricate designs, flowers, vines, clouds. In the dying firelight, the paintings seem to move. The vines seem to grow. You look at the center ring, the tuno. It is the eye of the house. Through the opening, you can see the sky. The smoke from the stove drifts straight up, a thin gray ribbon rising into the blue-black void. You see a single star. It is Polaris, the North Star, the immovable nail of the heavens. It is framed perfectly by the wood. You watch it. It twinkles in the cold air of the upper atmosphere. It sends a beam of starlight down into the tent, mixing with the firelight. You think about the road outside, the Silk Road. It is not a single road. It is a network, a web of veins stretching across the body of the earth. It runs from the Pacific Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. 4,000 miles of track. You think about the people on the road right now. To the east, in China, the sun is already rising. The farmers are waking up in the rice paddies. The silk weavers are sitting at their looms. The day has begun. To the west, in Persia, it is still deep night. The astronomers are watching the sky from the ziggurats. The guards are walking the walls of Baghdad. And further west, in Rome, the sun has just set. The senators are finishing their dinner. You are in the center. You are in the pivot point of the world. Central Asia, the heartland. You feel a connection to all of it. The silk you carry connects you to the east. The glass you carry connects you to the west. You are a bridge, but a bridge does not move. A bridge rests. Tonight, you are resting. The wind outside picks up. Ooh. It howls around the curve of the yurt. You can hear the felt walls shudder. You can hear the ropes creaking as they hold the tent to the earth. Creak. Strain. But the structure holds. It has held for 1,000 years. The contrast between the violence of the wind and the stillness of the air inside is profound. You are in a bubble of calm. You listen to the breathing of the camels outside. They are tethered near the tent for warmth. You can hear their heavy, rhythmic snorts. Purr. Huh. Purr. Huh. You can hear the dogs curling up against the felt walls on the outside, seeking the heat leaking through the wool. The whole camp is a cluster of heat in a landscape of ice. Your body begins to shut down. The warmth of the butter tea is still radiating from your stomach. It keeps your core warm. Your legs feel heavy. They feel like they are turning to stone. Your arms feel limp. You let go of the reins. You let go of the lead rope. You let go of the map. You realize that the road goes on forever. There is no end to it. There will always be another mountain to climb. There will always be another desert to cross. You cannot finish the road. You can only walk your part of it. And for today, your part is done. The distance has been covered. The miles have been eaten. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. You close your eyes. The image of the star remains in your mind. A white dot in the darkness. You focus on that dot. You let it expand. It turns into a white light, a soft, enveloping fog. It wraps around you. You are floating. You are no longer on the rug. You are hovering in the air of the yurt, weightless. You drift up, past the roof poles, through the smoke hole. You drift out into the night. You float over the steppe. You see the camp below you, a cluster of white circles glowing faintly in the moonlight. You see the herd of horses grazing in the valley. You see the river, a silver ribbon winding through the black grass. You see the mountains in the distance, the white wall of the Pamirs that you crossed yesterday. It is all silent. It is all sleeping. The earth is resting. You drift higher. The world curves away. You are part of the sky now. The wind rocks you. Left, right, left, right. It is the motion of the camel. It is the motion of the ship. It is the motion of the cradle. You return to your body. You feel the weight of the furs again, the comfort of the heavy blanket. You snuggle down. You bury your nose in the sheepskin collar of your coat. It smells of the flock. It smells of safety. The fire pops one last time. A soft click. The light dies. The coals turn gray. The room is dark. But it is a friendly darkness. A darkness filled with sleeping friends. You hear the slow breathing of the others. A chorus of rest. You join the rhythm. In, out, in, out. The road waits for tomorrow. The sun waits for tomorrow. Tonight, there is only the felt and the fur. You are grounded. You are home. Rest in the yurt. Rest on the endless road. Sleep.